So, over the past few days, I've been thinking about seeking external validation, just that as a idea. The reason I was thinking about it specifically was because I started posting these videos. The whole reason I started posting these videos was to get over seeking external validation because the only reason that I hadn't posted prior to when I actually did start was because I was scared of what other people might say. So I thought that posting would be like a concrete way to get over that. And it was, but it's still there, but it's just in different levels. I was looking at like analytics on YouTube Studio, and my goal for these videos was not ever to make, or was never to like amass a following. It was just to make them honestly for me. That was the goal. But even with that in mind, I still found myself looking at the views, looking at like retention and CTR and whatever. And that in itself, I don't think is bad. But what was bad about it was that I was like being affected by it, right? Like I would see the trend of views like going down, and I'd be like, fuck, bro. And that's like the same thing, right? That's still seeking validation externally. Like the ideally, the only validation that I should be getting from this is the fact that I'm doing it, right? Which is an accomplishment in my book. And when I look at these numbers and allow it to affect my mood or anything, then it's the same problem of like seeking validation. So there's levels to it, right? And I think relatively, relatively speaking, seeking validation from the number of views you get is better than seeking validation from what people say, only because to be able to seek validation from the views you get, you need to have had the courage to post in the first place. That's the only reason that I would say it's a like higher form, I guess, or a better version of it. But it's still seeking validation. Like it's the same tenet, like it's the same fundamental problem, which was the whole thing I was trying to get over. So I'm not sure like how to stop that, to be honest. I mean, I think like even with posting videos, I was just talking to a friend about this, about how I don't know if every day is something that's sustainable. And the only reason that I was worried about not doing every day because I was concerned about what someone might think, to be like, oh, good, like he finally quit. You know what I mean? And as I say all of this, I'm trying my best to not like qualify my statements by saying something like, I know I'm not like a big YouTuber or anything. I'm trying not to say that because I realize that also is caring about what other people think, because all I'm trying to do is pad what I say to not give someone a potential avenue to be like, what the hell are you talking about? You know what I mean? So, but yeah, the only reason I was worried about switching to maybe 2 times a week or 3 times a week was because I was worried that someone might see that change in pattern and be like, oh, like he's quitting or he's running out of steam or whatever. And the fact that I was indexing on that hypothetical situation to inform my decision is still caring about what other people think. Again, like I think I'm at a higher level of it than I was before, right? Like I I care little enough that I can post in the first place. But I don't know, I've been thinking about what I might title this, and I think perpetual discomfort is something that's pretty accurate because I think you as a human are so good at making something your new normal, right? Like for me, posting these videos, like the first one that I posted, I was super, super nervous to do. But after that, honestly, like literally after the first one, it seemed fine. And maybe that was partially because I wasn't getting like in person feedback, right? I mean, I don't know. I got a lot of feedback on it from, like being texted and stuff, but I don't know. But I don't know why I was able to normalize so quickly, but I think that's just human nature. And I think that can work against you a lot of times. Like, because the only time you grow is when you're uncomfortable. And that's not a novel concept, but it's very hard to implement. So I've been trying to, I don't know, think of a way to make it uncomfortable to post these. I'll give you like another anecdote. Like I was thinking on one of these like to try and actually make a thumbnail instead of just using the auto select one, which is just like a random frame from the video. And honestly, the only reason that I didn't is because I was again worried about someone seeing it and being like, "Damn, he's actually like putting effort into this shit. Like, what a fucking loser," which is stupid when I say it. And another thing about that is something that I heard Alex Hormozy say, which I've actually found to be really, really helpful for me, is fear only exists in the abstract and not the specific. And the way that you apply that to this sort of social anxiety is when you say, I'm worried about what people might think, oftentimes people means like two or three actual humans that you're worried about. When you say, oh, I'm worried about what people might say if I stop posting every day, if you actually think on that, meditate on that for like 2 minutes, legitimately like 120 seconds, you'll realize like, oh, I'm worried about what this person from high school, this person from college, and this person from my childhood might say. And then you think like, so am I really going to let the thoughts, the opinions of three people on me, and whatever it might be for you, but am I really going to let the opinions of three people affect what I do and how I act in my life? And it's like, no, that's dumb because you're going to die and they're going to die. And then in 100 years, it's not going to fucking matter anyways. So the whole reason that I brought that up is I've been trying to think of ways to kind of inject discomfort into this. And discomfort in like the social sense of it, not like the discomfort of working on a video for like 3 hours to edit it or whatever, but the discomfort of like finding a way to do something new such that it worries me to post because I'm worried about what people think. And then the important part is posting it anyways, right? Like the past few videos, I haven't really been worried, I guess, about what people might say, which is good. Like it's growth because I was worried for the first one. But there have been topics that I kind of avoid because I'm worried like what people might say. Like girls, for example, a huge one. Like I touched on it in my first one, but ever since then, like there's been so many different anecdotes that I think could be valuable to. Oh my god, bro, I'm sweating so much. It could be valuable to bring up, and I don't because I'm like, oh, what are people gonna say? And again, like people for me is like one person, two people. So I just try to remind myself, like, am I really gonna let this person, control what I do? And it's like, no, you shouldn't. I mean, it's hard. Like, I understand. Like, it's hard. It seems very logical to step through, right? To be like, okay, what am I worried about? I'm worried about what people might say. What does people mean? Let me define people. Okay, people is these two individuals. And then, am I going to let two people's thoughts on my life affect what I do in my own life? No. It seems like a very logical progression, and it is, but it's difficult to implement, and I guess that's why most people aren't able to get over that. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, like another thing for me, it's like I've been thinking about making an Instagram account and posting short form stuff on there, like taking clips from the longer stuff that I posted on YouTube and going there. And I don't do that because I'm still worried, right? But what are people gonna say? Like, oh, is he really trying to be like an influencer? Like this isn't just like a little fling. Yeah, I don't know. I think I think it's very easy to ride the wave of an accomplishment longer than it deserves to be ridden or longer than it can be ridden. Like for example, for me, for posting these videos, like it was an accomplishment, absolutely. But I think I allowed myself to use that as an excuse to not do other things that made me uncomfortable. Like one thing, for example, that I would try to do a lot at UMass would just to be like compliment one person or a couple people every day. Like compliment one girl, compliment one guy. It was I honestly focused more on girls because that's what I was more nervous about. But even with guys, like it's still a little nerve wracking to just say something. My point is, like, I would try to make that a practice, and I was good about that. But when I started posting these videos, I think in my mind I almost felt like, oh, I'm confident enough that I don't need to engage in this practice anymore. And it was weird because I would still think about doing it, but my mind would tell me like, nah, you don't need to. Like you're already kind of over that. So I think your mind is very good at creating comfort if you're not intentional about your own thoughts, right? I don't want to make it seem like you don't control your mind. The thing is, when you're not, you only have control when you're intentional about it. Because when you're not, like you need to stay alive, right? So your brain goes on kind of autopilot. And when you're on autopilot, you're very good at kind of manufacturing comfort. Like that example that I just gave of giving compliments to people. It was like actively very uncomfortable for me to do that whenever I was doing that, right? I would I would be walking down a sidewalk, I would spot someone and I would think like, okay, that's the person, like I'm gonna say something to them. And then your heart drops and your heart rate starts going up and start sweating and shit and like you're walking closer and closer and then you say the thing and that's uncomfortable and then so the whole thing is very uncomfortable and it doesn't feel good and you just have to push yourself to do it. And I think my point is that's like a very active action that you're taking, right? Like if you were just autopiloting through your day, like you wouldn't do something that makes you uncomfortable. It takes like active, I don't know, intention to do that. It's just important to both recognize your achievements, right? Like posting YouTube videos for me is absolutely an achievement, but at the same time, not allowing yourself to fall into complacency in light of an achievement, because your mind will very quickly try to just normalize everything and just allow you to tell yourself this narrative of like, I did the hard thing and that's over, so now I'm good. And I think what I'm realizing now is like that, like you never get there, like you never get to the destination because the goalpost is always like moving. I don't know, I feel like it's very hard to be. I mean, I think, yeah, what I'm realizing is that like I think your baseline increases with the achievements that you accomplish. So for me, right, I think my baseline level of kind of extroversion has increased, but it also atrophies, right? It's like any other muscle. If you don't flex it more, it will atrophy. And like these achievements are like a big jump in your sort of stat. Like if you're measuring it, like if I was like a level 2 extroversion, like posting these YouTube videos pushed me to like a level 7 or whatever. That every day you lose a little bit and you lose a little bit, that you don't push yourself. I'm not stopped on the side of the road because my phone fell. There's a lot of background noise, so I guess we'll see if this mic has worked or not. I completely lost my train of thought. I was talking about discomfort, right? So, yeah, I think you just always need to be intentional about just like flexing whatever muscle that you're trying to work on, right? For me, it's like social anxiety. So you just need to be careful to not do something big in terms of making progress towards the goal that you're chasing and then allowing yourself to just be complacent after that. Now that doesn't mean like never be satisfied and like this bro whatever. Like you should definitely acknowledge your accomplishments and be proud of yourself that you've done them. But at the same time, like recognize if you achieve something and then if you achieve something in the space of trying to progress towards a goal and it was hard to achieve that thing and then you fall into the trap of thinking that one hard thing is going to carry your progress all the way to the end goal, you have to be careful to not fall into that trap because there's two things. Like one, the goalpost like always moves. Just as humans, like you're never like satisfied, right? It's very hard to be satisfied. So there's always going to be something else. And a good way to dampen that is to try and recognize the things that you, I guess, take for granted on the journey to achieving a goal. So, okay, I don't know if I explained that well, but just to give a concrete example, right? Like for me, for the social anxiety, right? Like there's always going to be a next thing that I want to be able to do, right? Like it starts small. Like I just want to be able to say something out loud in class without thinking about what other people might think. And then maybe it can go like the goals progress and maybe it eventually becomes just like I want to just fucking go and like cold approach a girl and ask her on a date, right? So there's levels to it. But I think the problem with the goalpost moving is that you don't realize the goals that you've already achieved. I heard someone say Alex Hormozy again, or actually not Alex Hormozy, not this time. It was Chris Williamson, I think, actually reciting an Alex Hormozy quote. So I'm fucking all roads lead back to Alex Hormozy, but he said, "You've already achieved goals that you said would make you happy." And I think trying to be intentional about remembering the goals, the mini ones that you've achieved along the way, is a good way to balance out this constant desire for a bigger goal. Because I don't think one or the other is right. Like, I don't think stopping desiring more is good entirely, but I also don't think stagnation is good too, right? There's a balance there. And the way to balance it is by remembering the goals you've already achieved. Like for me, this is such a small thing, but like I used to be nervous to like take a deep breath in public. Like if I was just walking to class, like a literally like one of those, I'd be nervous to like do that if I was walking to class because I don't know. Again, it was just like I would think like, dude, what if people look at me and think like I'm weird or whatever the reason is, right? Now I'm not nervous to do that, but I think it's very easy to take the mini achievements for granted and like now whatever my goal is right now for the next step in the social anxiety, I think it's easy to like beat yourself up over not achieving that other goal if you don't be like, damn bro, I just took like a deep breath or I just spoke in class when the teacher asked something and I wasn't nervous, and recognizing like fucking 4 weeks ago I would have been able to do that. So yeah, so I think there's a balance between discomfort and acknowledging what you've already done.